Hi, y'all. This is Dr. Martha Durham. I'm a psychologist here in Greenville, South Carolina, and this is another episode of Why Did They Do That, the podcast. Today, I'm talking to Mark Knauber, who's a CPA and my ex-husband, and we're going to discuss why people think they can get away with financial crimes. I think one of the reasons I wanted you to talk about this is you have a background as an internal auditor.
Yes.
Yes, and that's kind of like being a forensic accountant.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
It is like being a forensic accountant.
Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Well, you don't always looking for somebody doing something wrong. As an auditor, you're serving a function normally within an entity that helps make sure that people don't do things wrong. But occasionally you discover that somebody's done something wrong.
So tell me, what are some of the things you found in business? And I know you have to be careful about the details, but like give us an idea of what would happen in a business setting where people would try to embezzle or do something.
Well, you'll find all types. I mean, just from like the granting of contracts, you know, you got a process you're supposed to go through, and people have friendships or relationships of different sorts, and they skirt those rules and end up with, you know, people that may, in fact, not be even qualified to do what they're being paid to do.
So a company awards a contract to somebody who's a buddy. They give them some money.
Or a relative.
Or a relative. And they
or a relationship that maybe they don't want anybody else to know about.
You mean like an affair?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Okay. And so they would give this person that contract.
Got a lot more interest.
So it would, they'd give them this contract. They'd get some money. You're being funny there. I saw that.
Well, I've seen it where they put them on payroll.
Oh, okay. So that's actually, and they're never going to get that work done for that contract. That's completely a scam.
Well, I've seen it both ways. I've seen payroll, and I've seen, you know, you'd say that you're, you know, a videographer, and you're going to do some marketing for the company. Yeah. You know, and you know what really happens. You're just paying the person
because they're your friend. How do you find something like that?
Honestly, probably the biggest way is other people.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, not everybody's happy for your success. Some people like to take it down a peg or two, and if you're
tattletales,
if you're you know, so irresponsible to do things that, you know, don't make sense, you'll probably find somebody who's willing to use it against you.
Yeah, let me correct what I just said, because I actually think people should report corruption at some level, especially something like that. So that's not really tattletaling, because that sounds so negative. Like if somebody is wasting the company's money and it's that blatant, you could see that somebody should say, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually somebody that's got, probably something against the other person is where you're going to hear this come from.
So you're talking about mean-spirited, we don't like each other, I'm going to bring him down.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mean spirit could be just that, you know, you aren't like them.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, you're, of a different socioeconomic background.
Yeah.
And,
and it makes you disgruntled.
People from a lower one, may say, well, I don't think, this person, everything this person has is because of their own efforts or because.
Oh, yeah.
And here they are doing this, and I found out about it. And, I've seen, anonymous tips come through that way. And that is one of the many ways that I've seen people get caught.
And psychologically, I mean, everything you're saying is really important. There are reasons people do it, and there's reasons people report on them. Some of them is I don't like the person. Some of them would be what I said, which they see that something is happening that shouldn't happen, and they feel like they should report that.
Yeah.
If you see something, say something, that idea, like in law enforcement these days.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we all see things every day, right?
Yeah.
And we feel like maybe we're not the world's police. So I'm not necessarily going to call the cops because I saw this. It's most likely going to be, I know this Yahoo, or I see him every day, and I'm tired of this, and
you're talking
here's
about,
what we're going to do.
You're talking about what other people do.
It's my experience. It's experience. It's not just me making things up.
No. I don't think you're making
Which I will do.
Well, you're here for a reason because you're an expert in this, okay?
All right.
We've established that. You're being really funny today,
news.
Mark.
Good
news.
That's
awesome. That's awesome. The funny side of Mark, y'all. For those of y'all that know Mark, here's the funny side of Mark.
From an accountant.
You're an accountant. Yes. Pocket protector, some tape in between your glasses.
Didn't bring it with me.
Didn't bring it with you.
Yeah,
just a big old nerd.
In the office.
Big old nerd. Yeah. So, okay, now listen, go back to this idea. You're talking about how people get caught, but you've told me some really interesting things before, like how kind of dumb people are. Like they post things on social media.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the ways that we found out about an inappropriate grant given or a contract given was, they thought that they would create a legal entity and you'd build a legal entity. Well, it's very, there are all sorts of legal entities have requirements too for transparency. So it's not hard for anybody to go look at who owns or
and you mean like an LLC?
Yeah. Okay. You can, all this public record, most of it is. So you can go look that up, and if you're not careful, you end up with leaving enough evidence for a very simple investigation that doesn't take a lot of time to put two and two together.
They're not high-level criminals.
Thank God, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever encountered really high-level kind of
I have
smart?
not. I've only read about those, thank God, because if you did, that's just could be very dangerous.
You might get whacked. Like the CPAs for the mafia. You don't want to be in that situation.
Well, there are other lesser exciting. I mean, your reputation. So, a place that I used to work at, they had some person that didn't like another person. Yeah. And they accused that person of something, and financial malfeasance, and I was in a position of power in finance, and that would have reflected very poorly on me if they basically said, so this happened while I was there. Well, isn't it your responsibility?
The buck stops with you.
Not necessarily, so extreme, but I mean, if I had still been there when that happened, which I don't think ever had. I think it's one person didn't like another person.
So you think
we can talk about that.
They lied about it. To try to destroy someone.
I think there's a lot of gray in it.
Yeah.
Look at the election official that was fired. They said he's in jail now.
Where? What state are you talking about?
This is our state. He's he was fired.
I try to stay out of that stuff, y'all.
He was fired this year, and now they just, I think, in the last couple of weeks, put him in jail for embezzlement. And you start reading about it. Well,
maybe I've heard something about that.
What was the embezzlement? Was it hundreds of thousands? Well, no. He had a company vehicle, and he let his wife use it. Or he took a trip, to see his kid at college. Yeah. Well, he used the gas card, so he embezzled, and that's wrong. I'm not saying it's right, but if you give people a reason, and you arm people that don't like you, they're going to use it against you. You
can get in trouble for something. So you're bringing up something which I think you'll appreciate. I am not a detail person, and you still help me with my finances. You help me with my business stuff. You help Doug with that stuff too. And the reasons we do that is that's your expertise. You know all that stuff. We are kind of bumbling. And I think about myself, like how you can make mistakes. I've been on some boards, okay? And there are rules on these boards. And if you don't understand, like you have to disclose everybody you're related to so that you don't break some rules. And I've broken rules before that I didn't even know were rules. right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what you're talking about. Kind of ignorance isn't an excuse for lack of knowledge.
Well, in that case, the election official, I don't think he didn't know. I'm sure he knew about that. But yeah, I mean,
but Dopey Martha,
a related party is actually, even big companies struggle to.
So you mean it's not just nepotism.
Yeah, well, yeah, but really it's just the spirit of disclosure. So the reason you have rules in a big organization about, disclosing the related parties is to prevent the appearance. Not just whether maybe the relative is the best videographer in town. Yeah. And he happens to be your brother-in-law. Well, disclose it. Yeah. So it's not when somebody will find out about it because you paid your brother-in-law. Why? Well, go look at the, related party disclosure that you made us fill out, and that's the whole purpose of the law, is to protect people. Really.
But that's acceptable because you're saying he's the best in town.
Yeah, you're coming out and saying it beforehand, before anything happens.
Correct.
Not
asking
after something has happened. Yes.
Not forgiveness.
Yes.
Well, you bring me to
asking for forgiveness.
Did I say it backwards?
No, people say, what people will say is, I'm going to ask, they'll think it's funny, I guess, they'll come out and say, I'm going to ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Not the government,
and,
y'all.
That's what we would tell our kids, that's not a great idea. Right. It has not stopped them from doing this, but that's what we tell them.
But guess what? When a professor doesn't care and you pay a price, you learn. I'm looking straight at a couple of my children. Correct? Okay, but let's bring it down to, I know, let's not talk about it. It's all right. They're doing well now, right? They're learning the lessons. Life is hard. Life is hard. And
if you learn from it, and it doesn't cost you everything you have, then it's a good lesson.
Well, let's bring it down to a level that we both have worked in sports organizations because we have an athletic son. We've tried to work in the more creative organizations for our more creative son with limited success, but in those sports organizations, you were often the treasurer. I was in charge of concessions.
It's a lot of volunteers.
A lot of volunteers. And it's fascinating how much money goes through those situations and how easy it is to steal, right? I don't believe that anybody was doing that in our organizations, right? But money goes missing.
Yeah, but because it's so loose,
it is so
you'll have the same kind of thing where people don't agree. Yeah, and then disagreement turns into something else, and so
and because you're who you are, you're a CPA, and I'm anxious. We would worry about those big amounts of money, and I'm gonna say something. It was fascinating to me how many people didn't want someone like you looking at it. And
yeah, we encountered that from time to time. And then
because you're a CPA.
It's, because probably they've had some practices that they've all kind of, felt like should always be the case, and they may not have been consistent with really, if you read the rules, what the rules were.
Correct. Like people want to say, well, I'm here at Sam's, I got to get this extra thing for me, but I'm going to give the money back. Okay. And everybody can say, I get that, but that isn't how it should work. You should have a better
it doesn't even have to be
checks and balances.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be that extreme. It's like, this particular team worked concessions at the football game, so the money should go here. Yeah. That's not what it says. It says, you put the money in the pot, and then we all look at the end of the year who worked, and then it's a percentage, and so it's...
There was a lot of angst.
Yeah, people may say, well, there's nobody else there that particular, maybe it was a weekend, maybe they gave up their time. Yeah. Like that ought to go to the lacrosse team.
You're serious about that?
Well, that's what you would hear.
Yeah, you would hear that.
And, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Right. I'll tell you, normal people making those choices who don't really know the rules or don't really want to follow the real strict rules, that's one thing. But when there were higher up people who would get really mad about you saying we should follow some rules. I question those people. And I'm just going to tell you that. Like, why would somebody really not want a CPA looking at that stuff? It may, you know what I mean? Like, why?
The more the money that you're talking about, the more higher the level the person's going to be involved.
Yeah.
And, I can think of good reasons,
Name them.
Well, I mean, you have just practices that you could make an argument in some cases. You've been doing the practice so long, well, then change the damn rules.
Change the rules.
May put the rules in writing, but then some reason don't take the time to do that. Maybe it's complicated. Maybe it takes too long.
Too many people.
Maybe it's
have
not
to be
practical.
On the vote. Yeah.
Someone will always come back and say, "Well, that's because it's not a good idea." And there'll always be someone that'll say that.
They don't want to do that disclosure thing. The simple thing would be disclosure. Hey, we're just doing it this way, and we want you to know.
But it's people's time, and it's a lot of times they're not paid, and you're making an investment in the kids, and you should.
Yeah.
But that's part of some of the complications. That's far and away from to me the people that steal outright.
For sure.
Sometimes you can find they'll give reasons. That's why I always liked that. I always thought it was such a good series, Breaking Bad.
I was going to bring that up. Better Call Saul.
But you know one of the many reasons it was good was at the last episode, the guy tells you that he did this all for him, and for all like 6 seasons.
You're talking about Walter White?
Yeah. He'd tell you.
We're talking about Walter White, y'all.
He'd tell you it was for.
It was a great show.
He did it for his family.
He was the bad guy from the very beginning.
Did it because he had cancer. He did it because of this, because of that. And in the final episode, I think it was really cool.
He was a sociopath.
Yeah, he did it because, but it's.
He was a sociopath.
Well, but
you know who wasn't? His brother-in-law. I can't remember his name right now, but everybody didn't like him at first. It was the FBI agent.
Hank.
He was the good guy.
He was a DEA agent.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, but most of the things I've seen in my career, they're not dramatic like that.
Right.
They're just people that think the rules should not apply to them.
Well, that's sociopathy.
And they're above them.
Psychologically, that's sociopathy.
That's most of what I've encountered.
Do you understand what I'm saying when I'm saying that sociopathy? That's just
no.
Yeah. Y'all, we were married. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. And I'm a psychologist. So that is So there's a difference between somebody who's just kind of self-centered and narcissistic and they think I should just do what I want, and somebody who thinks the rules don't apply to me.
Yeah.
So if you think the rules don't apply to you and you can break laws and all that kind of stuff, that usually falls in you have a lack of conscience and a lack of empathy. And that is what Walter White was.
Yeah.
And any of these...
I've seen some professionals behave that way, which is concerning because it's supposed to have, in many cases...
Now you know they're diagnosable.
The fiduciary responsibility, which means you're looking out for other people's assets.
Well, look in our state. So the Alec Murdaugh stuff, all that podcast is running again, or that series is running again. That was deep running, and there were bankers. This is public knowledge, so nobody's going to sue me over this. But bankers not doing their fiduciary responsibility, and I remember one of them didn't know what the word fiduciary meant, and he was a banker. That's crazy, right?
It's disappointing.
It's very disappointing. That's right. Okay, so you took it up to that higher level, right, of that stuff. I just saw that there were 3 houses, maybe they were in Myrtle Beach or somewhere in this state, where they've just gone in and found out those were being used for money laundering for terrorism. So that's here in South Carolina, and that's a similar thing, right?
Well, that's, much more complex than...
You're going to get killed if you get too close to those people. What
I've seen, thankfully, I'm grateful that I've never had to be involved in something like that because it's dangerous.
It is dangerous. Well, so back in the day before we knew each other, you were you a CPA down in Miami?
Yeah.
And you had to work in the warehouse district. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's not
you packed the heat back then.
Well, I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, because it was
I
dangerous.
mean, the first inventory I did down there, the guy had a nickel-plated 44.
Yeah.
And I'm, counting his inventory. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to say something. I'm like, look,
Yeah.
I don't know if I said it in this words. I'm not going to be intimidated. This is going to come out the way it comes out.
Right.
He's laughing, saying, no, this is because you had a few guys walk in here like they owned the place a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And since then, I carry this, and and I started thinking about it, and I actually got one because I ended up having to go. For some reason, they kept sending me back down there.
Yeah. Well, so someone like you with a license, this is, I've always said we use you. You're kind of a Boy Scout. You have a license. You do follow the rules. You should. Okay.
It's a choice,
Well, but my point is you do have to say, if you want to stay in that profession, you can't just let things slide unless you're also a sociopath. Like that CPA working for the mafia has got to be a sociopath or so afraid for their life, because you would have to tell the truth. That's dangerous when high level people and a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of, I know you think you're just a nerdy accountant, but it can be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, avoided situations like that intentionally.
So I appreciate you coming on and talking about this stuff. We'd love to have you back on again to talk more about it.
Sure.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, not at the moment. Maybe I'll save it for next time.
Yeah. Well, I
don't want to,
You got to keep them guessing.
Yeah, want to keep you wanting more.
That's right. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you putting up with me.
Good.
You could say that back. He's not going to.
What you said. Back at you.
Whatever.
Ditto.
Yeah, here we are. So thank you for talking to us about why people think they can get away with financial crimes. If you guys liked what you heard, subscribe and share this. This is the Why Did They Do That podcast. Thanks again, Mark.